Chapter 11. Behold this miraculous invention. Wake the dead. Why did I have to use those words? I could have said, I hope we don't find a gazillion caps, or I would hate to find some fresh food. No. I had to say that I hope we don't wake the dead. And look where we are now, at the bottom of some pit, surrounded by those crazed creatures again. And me, fresh out of explosives. Here we were walking along, enjoying the gloomy midday sky when all of a sudden there was a fucking earthquake. An earthquake that just so happened to open a fault line directly below us, causing us, or should I say me, to fall into the sinkhole. This place reeks. What is this, crap? Oh, it is crap. Fuck. Look at me, ex-sanitation worker who just so happened to fall into a sewer system. In the middle of fucking nowhere. To make things worse, this isn't even run-of-the-mill sewage. No, I'm not that lucky. I fell into 200-year-old rotting sewage. Shouldn't have this stuff, I don't know, dried up by now? Fuck me. Well, it can't get worse, can it? Oh, right. Ghouls. Fuck. Onion, get the fuck down here now. Miss, are you alright? No, I'm not alright. Stop asking me if I'm alright when I'm obviously not alright. No need to yell, miss. I'm right here. And so are a dozen fucking ghouls. Oh dear, not this again. Not this again? How can he say it so nonchalantly? Oh yeah, he's a robot. I looked around. Luckily, the ghouls were all in front of me. I took a brief look around, trying to map out the place. Thankfully, it wasn't too deep that it cut off the light from above, but it was deep enough that it would take some effort to get out. I saw a small shimmer of hope, a loose pipe hanging down from a nearby surface. If it held, I could probably climb out. If I had time to think. Wait, why did I have time to think? Last time they were on me within seconds. The ghouls were just standing there. It was mostly smaller species close to my size. I think a couple of them were rabbits. But most of their features were missing. Some of them were hunched over while others looked at the ready, and yet they were still. Normally I would be relieved that they weren't trying to eat me, but it was actually kind of freaking me out. Maybe they were like that North fellow. Maybe I should try to talk to him. Hi? Nothing. They didn't respond verbally or physically. Maybe they were all deaf. Hey, Onion? Go say hi. Excuse me, miss? Well, they don't seem to be attacking us, they're just standing there. Maybe they're friendly. Friendly or not, I've had enough being bait. Aw, come on. Miss, they are doing something. I turned back to the ghouls. All of them seemed more alert now. Even the hunched over ones seemed to be standing up straighter. All at once they began to move. Slowly to each side, cutting a path between them. Maybe they were friendly, and were inviting us in for a cup of coffee. I hope not. I hate coffee. Maybe some nice carrot juice. Fuck, North was right. Maybe I do like carrots a bit too much. I took a step. No response. I took another. This time they turned their heads simultaneously towards the path. Before I could take another step, I saw something glowing. There was a faint green glow coming from the path. It grew brighter and brighter until I saw its source. It was a ghoul. One much larger than the others. And it was glowing. It was a large, green, glowing ghoul. The radiation detector on my Pip-Boy started to tick furiously. This can't be good. Your plan, miss? Try to get the hell out of here before we become walking glow sticks? The glowing ghoul took a few steps past the others. Was it me, or were they all looking healthier now? At least as healthy as rotting bags of bones could look. The glowing ghoul just stared at me for a minute before it raised its arm, pointing directly at me. Its mouth opened and released a loud, rasping roar. And then the other ghouls started to run, right at us. I turned and ran towards the pipe, my feet sloshing in the muck below. What I wouldn't give to be in my water-resistant jumpsuit. Oh, right, I left it back in the burrow because I never wanted to see it again. Of course, to be fair, I never thought I'd be in a septic system ever again. Boy, was I wrong. Too late to reminisce. I need to get to that pipe. I took a brief glance over my shoulder to see Onion floating just out of reach of the ghouls. Some of them were trying to reach for him, but failing every time. He was only distracting 3 of them, but at least that was 3 less chasing me. I jumped onto a large piece of concrete that had fallen down with us. I'm lucky I didn't get crushed by any of this. I leaped off it with all my might and landed on a small outcropping on the side of the sinkhole. I was still too far to reach the pipe, and everything was too slippery to risk jumping at this height. I saw one of the ghouls getting uncomfortably close, and I pulled out my gun. I took aim and nailed him right in the forehead. He fell like a rock. 1 down, and too many to go. I took aim again and hit my target. Another one down. But then the glowing one started to get close. I tried to take aim at the glowing ghoul, but at this range and the aura of green made it hard to make out his features. I didn't want to waste a bullet if I can't hit it right. I turned and tried to get a grip on the wall of the hole. I managed to pull myself up a bit before my grip slipped. My waterlogged fur was starting to make it hard to get a good grip on what little there was here. I turned towards the glowing ghoul. Maybe if I just... My thoughts were interrupted as I saw him stop between the 2 I had just killed. It closed its eyes and the green glow became brighter. Suddenly it shot out like fireworks. My Pip-Boy spiked for a second and the radiation washed over me. It wasn't enough to do any irreparable harm, but it was enough to revive the 2 I'd killed. Wait. What? I watched as the 2 dead ghouls slowly got back up. What the fuck? The raised dead can raise the dead? Really? That's so not fair. That is really not fair. Onion, things just got a lot worse. How can that be, miss? That green fucker just revived the 2 I'd killed. That's how. Shall I play the music now, miss? Something tells me that won't work this time. I looked around, but there was nothing here. I doubt I'd find a handy bag of explosives this time. Wait. Idea. Onion, play something and try to distract them as best you can. I have an idea. When Onion turned on the music, it sounded much louder than ever. The walls of the sinkhole reverberating it throughout. The glowing one and his 2 friends looked towards the source of the sound long enough for me to find a way past them. I ran as hard as I could, almost tripping over a rock in the water. I ran far away from all the ghouls, which was not far enough for my taste. While they were distracted, I dropped on my bag and dug through it for the slave collars. I knew these would come in handy. I saw the slab of concrete that was lying against the wall, leaving an opening large enough just to use as a temporary workspace, and hopefully keep me out of their attention for at least a minute or 2. I took out my screwdriver and started to work on taking off the collar's access panel. It was still disarmed, but I just needed to reverse a connection here and there. The light on the collar turned green. Perfect. I tweaked it a little more before syncing it with my Pip-Boy. I only had 1 shot at this. I took the collar in 1 paw and went back to the open space. Hey! Big, green, and ugly! I don't know if it understood what I said, but it worked. I got its attention. And now that I got his attention, a thought occurred to me. This was a small-scale explosive. How the hell am I supposed to get it to the ghoul that emits deadly radiation? I looked around me for a solution. I can't just run up to it. If it didn't kill me, the radiation probably would. I can't drop it down on it, there's no ceiling. Unless... Onion? Catch! I hope this works. Really do. I tossed the collar with all my might towards Onion, who was still floating inches above the ghouls. I probably should have warned him that I was going to do it first. The collar fell short of him, landing on the ground outside the mass of ghouls around him. The collar! Grab it, quick! Now that I had his attention, he was able to zip down and pick it up with one of his grasping arms, before floating right back up above the ghouls. Now is not the time to accessorize, miss. It's a bomb! A bomb? Why did you just give me a bomb, miss? I need you to get it around the glowing ghoul. Can you do that for me? Yes, miss, I can try. Well, hurry up! He better do more than try. I may not be able to take the radiation, but I'm sure it would have little effect on a robot. He floated over to the glowing ghoul, who was oblivious to him, his eyes locked on me. I did my best to evade him and his friends as Onion tried to find a good position to clasp onto his neck. Thankfully, those things were designed with a pressure latch, so once it pressed on the wearer's neck, it automatically latched closed and tightened. Simple one paw, or in this case, one claw operation. The first time, Onion almost dropped it, and the second missed as the ghoul jumped off the giant slab in the center. Luckily, most of the other ghouls were still paying attention to Onion and the music. Unfortunately, they were hampering his efforts as well. One reached out like it was trying to grab the collar, like a child being taunted with a toy. Thankfully, a robot never gives up, and unlike myself, who am now struggling to catch my breath from all the running. Any day now, Onion! I don't know how much longer I can keep up this running! I guess that was all the encouragement he needed. A second later, he was able to successfully latch the collar around the glowing ghoul's neck. And that was my cue. I ran as fast as I could until I was able to dive under the slab of concrete where I left my bag. I brought up my Pip-Boy and pushed the button, and I could barely hear it over the echoing music. But I was able to hear the satisfying popping noise as the explosion decapitated the ghoul. Revive from that, you fucker. I poked my head out of the shelter just as I saw the body collapse to the ground, its head having landed a few inches away. The glowing that was emanating from the body slowly died down, leaving a slightly green corpse. All the ghouls stopped chasing me and Onion, and they just stood there, looking at that corpse. Were they mourning it? Did they even have the capability to mourn? Onion must have thought it was over because he turned off the music, and it was quiet once again. And then they all charged me. What was I expecting? Their leader died, so they'd just die with him? Apparently not. At least I had the time to count them finally. 10. There were 10 ghouls running at me, and I was on my last breath. I slammed my paw down on the screen of my Pip-Boy. I was dead. Burrow Assisted Targeting System online. That was new. Initiating first boot protocol. Please wait. Wait? For what? Why the fuck was my Pip-Boy talking to me? I didn't even know the thing could talk. Well, whatever it was doing, it better do it quick. I caught a second wind as I continued to run, keeping barely a few feet between me and those hungry maws. Hungry maws? Fuck, Olivia, stop thinking about food. It's not the time. User detected. Springs, Olivia, synchronizing biological environments. Please wait. Biological environments? What was it doing? Please be helpful. Please, please, please be helpful. Biological environment synchronized. Elevated blood pressure levels detected. Heart rate 60% above normal parameters. Muscle fatigue detected. Radiation levels at 20%. Recommend seeking medical treatment. Medical treatment? You think? Tell me something I don't know, you stupid piece of shit. Okay, Olivia, calm down. I'm just running for my life while my fucking Pip-Boy is telling me what I already fucking know. Threat detected. Would you like to activate the Burrow Assisted Targeting System at this time? Yes! Whatever the fuck that is, fucking do it right now! Initiating BATS. Injection of serum X-241 commencing. Injection of what now? Did my Pip-Boy just say it was about to inject me with something? I did not tell it to do that. Did I just activate some sort of fucking suicide pill? Run into trouble and your Pip-Boy is set to kill you before trouble does? Like hell, I need to get this damn thing off me before... Whoa. I feel amazing. The pain in my muscles is gone. I feel like I can breathe again. And everything is moving so... slow. Did I just slow down time? What the hell is this thing? I feel like I'm moving in slow motion, but everything around me is even slower. I looked down at my Pip-Boy. On the screen was an image of the 3 closest ghouls to me. But it wasn't a simple picture. It was a wired frame rendering. Green reticles were highlighting parts of the ghoul. 1 on each leg, 1 on each arm, 1 on the chest, and 1 on the head. On the one nearest me was flashing the head. Next to the reticle I read 86% chance to hit. Chance to hit? My gun! I pointed it towards the ghoul closest to me and shot. The bullet went straight into its head and it dropped. I think I'm in love. And then it wore off. Fuck.
Bats terminated. Threat still detected. Please wait 30 seconds while system refreshes.
It has a cooldown? Of course it does. Onion, turn the music back on. I need 30 seconds. Miss, what is going on? Music! Now! The music kicked on, but unfortunately only 2 seemed to be distracted by it as I continued to run. Would it be too much for a third breath? My legs were getting sore. I could barely keep myself upright, having to occasionally drag my hand along the wall to prevent myself from falling. I nearly tripped twice over my own legs. I couldn't keep this up. Why the hell was 30 seconds taking so long? When I got back to my shelter, I tried to dive into it, hoping to buy myself some time. Unfortunately, I only succeeded in bashing my knee on the concrete. That was it. I was finished.
Imminent threat detected. Activate bats.
Yes! I felt the prick of the injection again as time slowed. I felt no pain in my knee, and I could think and breathe clearly. I didn't hesitate this time. I checked my Pip-Boy's visual targeting and took aim at the highest chance to hit areas. I pulled the trigger. Dead. Pulled the trigger again. Dead. I was able to take down 2 before my shots stopped. I needed to reload. 5 more to go. I was able to reload my gun before the chemicals wore off, and then the pain in my knee returned. 30 more seconds. I just needed to live for 30 more seconds. There were only 3 on me. The other 2 were still trying to grab Onion. I could handle 3. I got up, put my bad knee against the wall, and I ran as fast as I could, ignoring the pain and using the wall as a support. I counted down in my head. 25. I kept running, keeping my gun in my outside paw. My legs wanted to give up, but I wouldn't let them. By sheer will alone, I was able to keep going. 20. Just as the 2 of them got close enough that I could smell them, I pushed against the wall and started across the sinkhole. 15. I ran past Onion and got the attention of the other 2. I had all 5 on me. I think Onion was objecting, but I ignored him, putting all my concentration on ignoring the pain and counting. 10. When I got to the other side, I braced myself against the wall, gun held in both paws as I faced the 5 ghouls. 5, 4, 3. They were getting very close. 2. I could see into their dead eyes. And 1.
Immediate threat detected. Activate bats.
Yes. They were within a couple feet of me by then. I must have been a yard away when the serum kicked in. I checked the hit chances and pulled the trigger. 1 dead. 2 dead. 3 dead. 4. 5. Missed. Miss! What the fuck? I was in the zone too! 6. Dead. Thank you. When the chemicals wore off, I felt the pain and exhaustion flood back into me. I did the only thing I knew. I collapsed. I really hope this isn't a common occurrence. I was in pain, I was gasping for air, but I was still conscious. That's a plus. I put my head down to rest for a moment, only to remember where I was and what I was laying in.
Miss, I'm so relieved. Are you all right?
My knee feels like it's broken, and my legs feel like they're about to fall off. I am both mentally and physically exhausted, and I'm lying in a pool of 200-year-old filth. Yeah, I'm doing just dandy.
You're alive, and that's all that matters.
I was alive. Either I was extremely lucky, or fate was still watching out for me. And laughing. I'm sure it's laughing. Hell, I'd be laughing too if it weren't me.
No imminent threats detected. Shutting down bats. It is advised that you seek immediate medical attention. Who was that, miss?
Onion, meet Pip-Boy, Pip-Boy, meet Onion. When I was younger, I tended to skip out on much of my required education. There was advanced language, and I was already reading from mechanical engineering texts when my classmates were still trying to comprehend One Mouse, Two Mouse, Red Mouse, and Blue Mouse by Dr. Moose, and I didn't have time for that. Then there were the math classes. Thanks to my mother, I was already creating complex algorithms in my sleep. Literally. Sometimes I would wake up and know the answer to an equation that bothered me the night before. My mother taught me everything I needed to know before most even learned about it. I had no need for school when I already knew everything. And of course, when I turned 14 and finally received my Pip-Boy, I was supposed to take the Pip-Boy and You class that taught you everything you needed to know about your Pip-Boy. And I managed to find a way out of that as well. Boy, was I stupid.
Your Pip-Boy started to talk to you, miss?
Yep, don't even know how either. Guess I spent way too much time tinkering in the Burrow with everything else that I never once thought, hey, why don't you learn more about this thing that everyone is required to wear?
Well, I suggest that you should learn more about it once we get someplace a little safer, miss.
And what if I want to sit here surrounded by filth and corpses? I'm starting to find it rather charming.
As charming as the ghouls sneaking up behind you.
What? I thought I killed them all. I jumped up, pulled my gun out, and fired. And there was nothing there. Oh, you made me waste a bullet.
Since you are apparently rested enough to leave, miss, shouldn't we do so post-haste? I feel like I may rust if I remain down here much longer.
Yeah, I think you're right. Plus, we've wasted enough daylight down here. And I really should find some way to clean up.
I highly doubt we'll find any running water, especially none that isn't contaminated, miss.
I love your optimism, Onion.
Well, someone has to be.
Since I left Burrow 76, I've had back and forth feelings. At times, I'm glad that I've left, wanting nothing to do with that place. But other times, I wish I had never left. None so much as when I had found the remnants of Beaverton. No matter what my feelings were, there was one thing I always agree on. The one thing that I missed dearly from the Burrow was water. None of this contaminated crap, but clean, running water. Sure, I still had a few bottles of purified water, but I didn't want to waste that on something as benign as a bath. Sure, I was covered head to toe in filth. Filth that was slowly drying into a chitinous-like shell. And there are probably others worse off than me. But it would be nice to feel clean again. It was amazing how easy it was to climb out of the sinkhole when there was nothing trying to maul you to death. And since my legs still hurt, I took it slow, not wanting them to give out or end up plummeting me back into the abyss. Onion had a much easier time, drifting up to the top like he was some kind of fish bobber in water. Damn it, Olivia, stop thinking about water! When I got to the top, I noticed two things. First, while it was still the afternoon, the clouds were making it seem much darker. Second, whatever caused the earthquake sure did a number up here. This was not the only sinkhole that had formed. From here I could see at least two others, although neither of them were as large as this one. A huge fault line had formed that split this land in two. It wasn't wide enough to risk falling into, but I think I would rather avoid it altogether. I say we steer clear of this area. If a small rumble did this, I would hate to see what would happen if a large one hit, and I really don't want to deal with anything else that might be trapped beneath us.
I agree, miss. It will, however, add a significant time to our journey by avoiding this area.
How significant?
At least an hour, miss, based upon my readings from where the earthquake hit in the directions of the fault. The epicenter resides in the direction we were previously traveling. It would be safer to give this entire area a wide berth. Plus, I would rather not see what resides in those other sinkholes.
Looks like we're taking the scenic route. From rust to waste. That sounds like the name of a book. Maybe I'll write one of these days. The Adventures of Olivia Spring, Book 1, From Rust to Waste.
If a printing press even exists.
And there you go, destroying my dreams.
Miss, I see something just ahead.
It's not another threat, is it? I don't think I can handle anything else today.
No, miss, it's some kind of sign.
He was right. There was a large green sign hanging over the road not too far ahead of us. It had been faded over the years, and by some miracle it was still intact. I pulled out the scope and focused it on the sign. I left the burrow to get away from mice and rats that always looked down upon us larger rabbits. Although, after barely escaping that rhino ghoul, I can kinda relate to them. Size can be dangerous, especially if you're the smaller ones. Still, I didn't miss them.
What does it say, miss?
Little Rodentia, 3 miles.